Hello. How you doing? How you doing? You feeling good? I'm feeling good. Yeah, that wasn't a very good Holly Willoughby impression, was it? So, this week we are talking about Northern men, because there's now is daft, is there? And what with Mark living over in Warrington these days, he's noticed some differences and some things that are very northern, and we've been having a laugh about it before we hit the record button. So I thought we'll start including some of those bits and pieces, and he's used it in some of his training this week. So, Mark,
yeah,
bank holidays.
Yeah, the first sort of stuff. I moved down here in '98, so I was still, what was
Bloody
I,
hell,
30?
was it?
Yeah, it was '98. It's 25 years since I left.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that long.
Me and Anita have been together 25 years next week.
What? When did you have that? When did you have your bold Nazda? What's it?
Yeah, that's 2010 into 11 for sort of just less than a year.
Oof.
Yeah. So we
Wow.
we did overall 25 years, but we did have, gaps in between but we've always came back here and had a house here. So, but I was just talking to Simon about the sort of,
Yeah.
growing up in my 20s, bank holiday Mondays, Easter weekend, 2 bank holidays, Friday and Monday. Yeah.
Aye.
And you could get absolutely hammered for the whole weekend. And you'd be, Easter bank holidays in Whitley Bay were just crazy, weren't they, in the early 90s?
Oh, the States.
Yeah.
I remember the States. Some people used to rock up to work in on a Tuesday, and you could still smell it.
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So where you've been? Oh,
Yeah.
I was in Whiskey Ben's, and I was in Sylvester's, then I was in Idles.
Yeah.
I went up to Scott's, and then I was in Fitzgerald's. Then I was in the Hairy Lemon, and I was like, Jesus, that whole street.
Yeah.
That isn't there
South
anymore.
Parade, isn't it? South Parade.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
And the story about it is, seeing the world through that filter. That's your belief of the world. So then I moved to Warrington, and the first bank holiday, in my memory, I think it was an August bank holiday, and I decided, I was going to go out on bank holiday Monday on my own, and I went into town, and seriously, you could have seen the tumbleweed going through town. There was nobody there, and I was astounded that I was like, why is nobody out? It's bank holiday Monday. Everybody goes out bank holiday Monday, and then you have this sudden realization that certain things that you took for granted as being Geordie and roundabout Geordie area don't happen elsewhere, and vice versa. They see the world through different eyes to us, and it just got me thinking about all those stuff that we have northern sort of perspective on.
What do they do on bank holiday then?
Well, it's here. It's very much shopping, family time, not a drinking culture at all. It's not that way inclined. And you could go back to the 70s, and do you remember on a bank holiday Monday where we'd go to the DIY shop, and that was your trip on a bank holiday Monday. You go to DIY. You got the Dixons up in there, up in Shiremoor.
Oh dear me, Dickens.
Do you remember Dixons, the DIY shop?
It was Dickens, man, wasn't it?
Dickens, that's it. Yeah.
Dickens DIY next to the car garages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aye.
And so that way, I sort of before I was drinking time. That's what I remember as bank holidays. Used to remember the queue all the way down the road because everybody's waiting to get into the DIY shop, and
Dear
then
me.
of course B&Q took them over eventually, but it was just, and then you sort of get on to interesting stuff about things like Christmas, and I started bringing in stories about the Danes. So with Danes, Christmas Eve is the time, isn't it? It's not Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, although it's sort of Catholic Christian sort of celebration, and the Danes and Danish are Catholic and Christians, that they celebrate that occasion in a totally different way to what we do. And then I was discussing. So how did you open presents on Christmas morning, Simon? What was the
It was,
process?
oh, it was, look at the clock, 6:15. It's late enough, innit? It's late enough. You go in, see your mum, can we get up? Can we get up? And you'd hide down the stairs and you'd make a mess. We'd all have our own chair, or our own bit of the sofa. That's my corner.
Well,
It's my brother's corner. It's my other brother's corner. And then you would decide the order. Or we'll leave the big stuff and we'll open the little stuff. The stocking fillers. Totally different though. I went down to my brother's once, as he lives down in Hampshire. Went once, right? Because I found it weird, right? That I was staying over. I think it was his in-laws, right? So I had the camp bed out in the living room. So what happened was we got up. What was it, 10:30 or something? People
yeah,
got up. We put all the camp beds away. People went in the shower, got dressed because there was other people staying there. And then we had a savage, a cup of tea, some breakfast. Then we put the dishes away and we washed them. Then we all sat around while my sister-in-law handed out each present one at a time, and we all watched that one person open it. She asked who it was from on the label so she could write it down and send them a thank you card, which was great until I didn't know what to get Steve. So I bought him a Star Wars chess set because I know he likes chess. I know he loves Star Wars. So what happened? She bought him the same thing, but she gave him hers first. So when he opened mine, he already had one. And I thought, where's the fun in this? And it is something Stephen has mentioned, right? And he went, it's not the same, when you can just come downstairs and it's part of the fun. Your mum puts a bin bag in the middle, or rather your dad does, when he gets up at 10:30. He puts a bin bag in the middle of the room and starts putting everything, all the bits of paper in the bin bag. Your mum's off making bacon sandwiches and a cup of tea, whilst we're all basically tearing the place apart. And she walks
yeah,
in with her packs of batteries, saying, right, I've got the batteries for the things, if you need them, because nothing comes with batteries. Nothing ever has come with batteries. I've got all these different. I've got some AAs and some AAAs, and I've got they remember them massive fat batteries that you don't see anymore.
yeah,
Them big chunky ones. It was all that, and that was fun. Whereas now, he's created a compromise. So what happens with his kids is they have their stocking at the end of the bed that they're allowed to open because they have to stay in their room to open. And that should be long enough for them to then get up somewhere near 10 o'clock. And they can then go downstairs and open their stuff. I went, shut up. Shut your face. It's all about going a bit nuts. Right? That's it for me. I mean,
I'm, I'm,
it was the same for you, surely.
no, I'm very much sort of on your brother's side.
What?
We, even when my mum and dad were together and my grandparents were there, seriously, it would take 4 hours to open the presents, one at a time. And then,
What?
oh, look what you've got. Oh, look what Santa's brought you. You know, and picking up the wrapping paper, and then at some point you might get some breakfast. I don't know. I can't really remember breakfast when I was a kid on Christmas Day. But yeah, we did the whole sort of similar to your brother thing, and of course, it's not the same as you get older, is it? It's just not the same.
No, I must admit, while I sort of look forward to the period, because there's usually some daft stuff on telly and
Yeah,
this and that, but it's basically socks, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
basically socks. I've basically turned into what my dad used to do on Christmas, was get up at 10:30, open his bottle of Brut, open his socks and his new tie or something, whilst we're busy going nuts, putting batteries in things and making a load of noise, plugging stuff in, taking over the telly, because I got my Spectrum and I want to play a game on it, that kind of thing. And he's like, oh, I want to watch the news, man,
Uh,
or summit. Now it's not the news anymore. Like my mum watches Andre Rieu, the guy with the violin and all that orchestra
all
outdoor.
right.
He charges like £6 million a ticket, something like that. Anyway, there's generally some something like that. But no, we try and do it. We turn up to mum's later, but we essentially do that. She gets all the stuff from under the tree. She'll put it under the tree, brings it in the middle of the room, and says, "Right, that's your lot. That's your lot. That's your lot." And then we just sit there and just start tearing it to bits. Nah, you can't have organisation at Christmas. Organisation? What's that about?
And what's fascinating is, I see it as normal to do it that way, and we've continued that. Anita and Robin and the kids. What is when I think of subtle changes. So obviously breakfast was not really major when I was up there, but we introduced croissants with bacon and cheese and a bit of Bucks Fizz. So now that's followed through for a few years, and Robin is sort of taking that on as well. So we're now creating something new.
When you're going to be adding in grapefruit and avocado next, or
yeah, have I become posh? What's happened to me?
You've lost your roots.
I've lost my roots.
Mark.
I've definitely lost them. Look at the state of my hair. But yeah,
Posh is not for Christmas.
What?
Posh is not for Christmas.
I know. She's
you put
for any
posh
day.
on pause. Posh on pause for Santa Claus.
Yeah. we discussed posh, didn't we, and the where it comes from.
Aye.
Yeah. Aye. So, but what Christmas sort of aside, we were talking about these strange things that, and I think this probably happens in all regions and how we see the world. So you walk through Newcastle City Centre today or any sporting weekend, and you'll see 1,000 people wearing Newcastle United top walking around, and you would never talk to any of them. Never talk to them. You then suddenly
they might be a bit radgy.
Yeah, they might be a bit ratchet. They've just come out of Greg's. They've had too many pasties, There was no steak bakes left. They're all gone. Oh, God. No steak bakes.
There's no steak bakes.
Yeah. You get 3 for £1. Not these days. I remember that. You used to get 3 cheese pasties for £1. Flipping heck, what happened there?
I know.
How much is it for a sausage roll now? Or 3 sausage rolls?
Oh, it depends where you go. Have you gone to Milligan's?
Yeah.
You go to Milligan's, I think it's they do. Is it 4 for the price of 3? But it still costs you. I don't know. Is it £2 something? I mean, you go most places these days. It's over £1 for a sausage roll.
Yeah.
And the size varies depending on which place you go to. And it's over. Is it 160 something now for a steak bake?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shocker.
Crazy. So the bit I was getting to, so we're going on holiday for 2 weeks of the year,
Aye.
And all we look forward to is we're going to Newcastle Airport. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're in the bar, yeah, and we're getting 27 pints.
Aye.
And
I've never been able to do that, but there's people like, I'm going on holiday. The holiday starts in the Eagle Bar.
Yeah. And we've both travelled out of Manchester, haven't we, and other airports, and it doesn't happen anywhere else, does it?
No,
it doesn't.
We've been to Manchester, Belgium, Paris, Frankfurt. Was it Dusseldorf as well as Hamburg? And
yeah,
you don't see people getting boozed up, do you?
No, not at all. And
so it's coffee shops, isn't it?
So we're within the Eagle Bar. We're looking for the nearest flipping place where you can get a smoke because we've had 2 pints now. We need a smoke, and then we get on the flight. We ordered, buy one get one free of the bar foods on the flight. Get totally tanked up, and then we get there, and next morning, what's the first thing we're looking for breakfast? English breakfast for £1.
I'm going on holiday, but I want English stuff.
Yeah, so we've gone on holiday, and I remember Jacob from Pandora. He'd been somewhere where there was a load of Geordies and whatnot, and he was like, "What are you about?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "You're all smashed out your faces at 9 o'clock in the morning and all eating English breakfast." And I was like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
And what is it? What is it about when we go abroad that we've got to look for the same things we get at home? Why?
I know. It's like we go abroad to feel nostalgia.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that! Hey, have you seen that? They've got Danish bacon here. Have you
yeah,
seen that? We've got the Denpak stuff. Oh, look,
yeah.
look, bottle of brown ale. You can buy that here. Well, you can buy it at home.
You get Snickers. You can get Snickers. You can get Snickers here.
I know. Hey, look, that's when it was still called Marathon over here. See, look, they call it Snickers over here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
look,
look.
they do upper fruits.
Oh, look. You can get. Think of something typically English. What would it be? Black pudding. You can get black pudding here, but it's 20 quid for a slice. Remember when we used to go to the English shop in Germany?
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
You go upstairs to the freezer and they had Danish bacon and whatnot in there, like proper back bacon, not the streaky bacon, because everywhere is streaky bacon.
Yeah.
20,000 forms of sausage
Yeah.
of every colour of the rainbow. Everything was streaky bacon, though.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily complete, but every now and again when you want to make a proper... But you go in there. So I can get anything for you. And get anything for you, just if there's out there, just say. And she used to put you could actually get the breakfasts and that there as well, couldn't you? And sit outside.
Yeah.
But I remember my mum and dad came over, brought me a couple of stotties. And I thought,
Yeah.
I'm not having just anything in these. So I went to the English shop, bought some of that bacon, had a mild heart attack at how much I'd just spent.
So
It's worth it though.
What's
Taste
it?
of
So
home.
we've gone to Spain or we've gone to France or wherever, right? What's wrong with having a bit of muesli and a croissant for our breakfast?
There were many times me and you sat in the hotel in what was it called again? The Butcherhof.
Oh yeah,
The Butcherhof.
yeah.
And,
Down ramen.
Yes, having the star of ramen, and on the morning it was all cheeses, hams, and all that kind of stuff. And then I discovered the Ban Marie
Oh yeah.
with the streaky bacon.
And she
in.
wasn't a girlfriend you went out with.
Nah, she wasn't. Unfortunately. So I used to just grab a couple of the crusty rolls and I would just fill my plate with the streaky bacon and make myself a begrudging bacon sandwich. I'm having this bloody bacon sandwich for my breakfast. I'm having it with the cup of tea. And of course you have to, when orange is on offer, you can't just have the tea or the coffee, you also have to have the orange or the apple juice.
Yeah, yeah. And tell me about those crusty rolls. They used to take the top layer of your skin off above your teeth.
Oh, aye.
You know, not like stotties. You know, stotties are really gentle on your teeth, aren't they?
Oh, aye. Or you would just sort of squash it to bite it, and it would crumble all onto the plate.
Yeah, you got half the roll on your trousers.
Aye.
Yeah.
Nah.
But yeah, and then so one of the things I was getting to. So we we've gone through Newcastle city centre before we went on holiday. Wouldn't really speak to anybody. Then we get on holiday, and we spot the one person in Spain that's got the Newcastle United top on, and he becomes our best friend for 2 weeks. So,
It's odd that, isn't it?
it's
odd that, isn't it?
Yeah. So we meet them for breakfast every morning, and then we go out because and why is that? And we sit in the pub and watch reruns of Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
Why do we feel drawn to that person?
There's that connection, isn't it? He's come to the same place. You're from where I'm from. You're from aye. It's almost like part of the luggage you take with you is the nostalgia and the familiar things. So it's not just clothes and underwear, all of that stuff. You're actually taking some of that psychological stuff with you, and you want to find it when you get there. Maybe I don't know if it's because it takes the edge off, or all of a sudden it takes on. I mean, if there was a Greg's in Spain, you'd definitely go, wouldn't you? And you'd want to try it out.
That's a really good. Why have Greg's not done that
Oh, they're missing out, aren't they?
in the seaside resorts?
Oh, there's enough Brits go over there
Yeah.
to make it money, right? So even if there's not a single Spanish person buys a sausage roll, There'd be plenty of us over there.
So Simon, that's our what hybrid of Greg's would we call? So there's a place at the bottom of my dad's. It's now closed, and it was called Morrising's. It was an Asian guy who had a shop, and he called it Morrising's rather than Morrison's.
You
And
call it Gringos.
Gringos, there you go. So we'd call it Gringos pasties. Yeah. And at the end of the night, if you're still hungry, you get to smash 3 pasties for €1.
Although, do you know what they call? Do you know what they call us over there?
No?
Giri.
What?
Giri.
What does that mean?
It's a not very nice slang term for English tourists.
Oh, right. You mean
I was
all the
called it
ones that
once
are
or
putting the
twice.
money in their economy?
Aye. All the money that they've been missing since we
Yeah.
haven't been going back.
Yeah.
Aye. That lot. Aye. Yeah. But you would. You'd go, look, there's a Greg's. Let's get a pasty. I don't know, is it a connection thing, or does it add a shine to things, or does it
Well, it's a
a
comfort
taste
blanket,
of
isn't it?
home? Yeah,
Comfort
maybe.
blanket.
Maybe
You know,
so.
I didn't know anybody. Oh, right, I probably have something in common with them. They're from South Shields, but they still support Newcastle. That's alright. We can tolerate that, you know. And
So it's
we can tolerate that. They've got Newcastle.
the wrong side of the time, that.
Ooh, you've
It's the
got to
wrong
be
side
careful
of the
now,
time.
haven't you?
Yeah.
Because they're all inbred from there, aren't they?
Kelsey will have your head off.
I know she
Yeah.
will, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Aye.
But
Oh,
it was. Here's a story about, not about on holiday. So I was taking some referees around recently, and
Oh, yeah.
as they were getting on the bus, the guy that was organising it, he said one of the referees is from Sunderland. He said, go give me a bit of chip, because you're from Newcastle. As I got on the bus, the one that was organised, he went, there he is. There's that bloke from Sunderland. Yeah, yeah. And I looked at him. I went, oh, don't worry about it, mate. I said, I'm a North East fan. And he went, I'm not. He said, I'm a Sunderland supporter, and you know where you can go. And I was just like, wow, really?
Ooh, so you thought, no, I'll be nice.
Yeah, I
And
did.
he just basically went, woo, there's a couple of fingers.
Yeah,
I got
of course
some
he was in
spare
front
ones
of his
for you.
mates, wasn't he? From
Of course,
the referee contingency. I've got to act big in front of them, haven't I?
Oh,
And
Mackams and Tackams.
that's it. Interestingly enough, when he was when we were at certain car parks on the journey, and he would pass me going to and from the toilet. Nice as ninepence he was. Nice as ninepence. You know.
Do you know I worked in London for a while on High Street, Kensington, and me boss, it was technically a director, decided that my software team needed to have a mid-level manager between us and him, right? This guy was a canny bloke. He used to just take us out on a lunchtime. We'd disappear for 2-3 hours,
Yeah.
and he just gets shedded, and on Stella, and
Wait, what's its colloquial name?
oh, how we.
White beater.
Do you know they fast brew it, so they chuck a bunch of extra chemicals in to fast brew it,
Yeah.
and some people have an adverse reaction to the residual stuff that's left in it, right? So this is what I've been told by those in the trade, that's why that happens. That some people react and some don't.
So is it
But I
turn
went
you
in
into
there.
is it turn you into a Stella a twat?
Aye, that's a good one. That's a good one. So do you know what happened? I went to the loo,
Yeah.
right? And some guy just said something, and I replied to him, and he went, "Oh, are you from Sunderland?" I felt deeply offended. Can you imagine? I'd travelled all the way down to London, and he thought our accents were the same.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't elongate all of my vowels. Thank you very much.
Go on, try and explain to some of the audience what that would mean. Elongate all
Curry.
your vowel. Huh?
Curry for a start isn't Kerry.
Yeah. Hurry,
Do you want
hurry
a
up.
chicken curry?
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Oh, honestly, no. You can tell
Remember,
the further south you go, the longer a word takes to pronounce. So as you get down towards Peterlee,
yeah,
where they still run on gas lights.
yeah. There was a couple of girls that worked at Pandora, didn't we? And we were constantly taking the mick out of them.
Oh, from Bishop.
Yeah, from Bishop. Yeah,
Bishop Auckland, aye.
yeah,
Where everything still runs on coal.
yeah, yeah. All been gaslighted now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they haven't done electrics yet.
And it's fascinating how many people do that though. When I meet you meet throughout the country, and the first quandary they've got is, ooh, I don't know which part of the town they're from. Are they north or south? And they're really worried about what they say because
But there's loads of
yeah,
there's loads of that though, isn't there? Like derby rivalries
yeah,
around the country. You know, like down south, you've really got to get it right because I mean, there's a ton of them down south. You know, if you're mistaking your Tottenhams and your Evertons and your Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, get that wrong,
So
you can start a fight.
take that,
Dear.
take that exactly because I did that yesterday as part of the module I was doing yesterday. Who teaches us that we should hate and potentially beat the crap out of these people? Now, I'm not even going to talk about the religion stuff, about adding on Celtic Rangers and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not going to add that on.
Yeah.
So, why is it acceptable that we're bred that way through our childhood to think that way about football
It's
and violence?
tribal, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's tribal, and it's almost like if you think of it this way, if you're ever asked like how you identify, you would, and I thought, how would I answer that question? Like, first and above all else, I'm Geordie, right? And that is one thing that anyone from Newcastle feels is pride in the city and
Definitely.
where they come from, right? That's almost bred into the genes of people
yeah.
from Newcastle, right? The
Born
deep
within the
pride you
banks
feel.
of the Tyne.
It's a deep pride, right?
Yeah.
So that for me, I'm Geordie above all else. But then I thought, right, do you go Geordie, Northern English, then from the United Kingdom, then I'm from Earth? I don't know. How do you because, but then the wider question of that is, why am I thinking about all the tribes I belong to and how they overlap and cross over? Like, that's how we seem to identify ourselves these days, is the gender or sexuality we belong to, the place that we belong to, or the place that we're from. We can adopt them as well. Oh, well, I've moved down to Yorkshire and I'm an adopted Yorkshireman, or I'm still a Northerner because I'm still in the north, and so all of a sudden you become a Northerner rather than a Geordie. So, well, I'm in the north and we're all clubbed together. We're all Northerners. Yeah, but where's the border start for? That starts fights and all.
Yeah.
Or if you draw the border in the wrong place of where the north starts, Christ,
Yeah.
you're upset a bunch of people there.
I do
I'm
that.
not a southerner.
Yeah.
Southern fairies.
It's the north-south divide. I was with somebody yesterday. I was doing one of these planning missions for The Apprentice. Where you do clues and whatnot. I've got a day out in September to deliver, like The Apprentice, and she lived in close to Ealing, and the house that she lived in was worth 1.6 million, and I was like,
Tasty.
yeah, but you talk about the north-south divide, and obviously in Newcastle. So you take that money, you sell it, you come up to our neck of the woods, and you live like a king for the rest of your life, don't you?
So you're saying, like, contextually for her, I said, well, that's just how much stuff costs down here, and the salaries we get are different to your salaries, and what you need to do is convert one for the other. But I noticed that when I worked in London, I was down there on, what was it, 21 grand or something I was on at the time, which isn't a lot considering my rent was 650. My rail ticket cost 350. So before I've even done out with him, I think by the end of it I was left with about 400 quid. It was an out. Mind you, I got fed up. I was offered the same money back up here, so I went, do you know what? Stuff it. Moved up here, bought a flat.
Yeah.
Because the flat, well, back then, mind. Back then, the flat I bought was 40 odd grand. I sold it for 110 by the time I left, but it was 40 it was 44 grand or something, I think it was, when I bought it. And I could afford that on my own, although I had a flatmate, help with some of the bills and that. But it was an entirely different story, that sort of money in the north versus... So it's... I think when you see on the news and they're talking about how, oh, well, you know, doctors are striking because they want this much money and they're all on about 120 grand, you know. I said, well, where though? Where? Because 120 grand in London, and I've spoken to some people from London, they're like, I've got 3 kids, a wife and a house, and 120 grand just doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
120 grand is the equivalent of you being on 30 up north or what have you. So the news fails to contextualise it. It's different if someone a consultant up here is on 100 odd grand. They're laughing, absolutely laughing. Down south, it's nout. It's nout. In fact, you'd have to live outside of London and travel in to really get any benefit from that money. Even then, you're still paying a hefty price on your rail travel or whatever else. So it's all contextual, isn't it? So you kind of judge someone 1.6 million. I know I said, "Oh, that's tasty," but by our standards, it is. I know there's some places in Whitley Bay that go for 500,000 or 1 million these days, but because they're massive and inflation and all that.
Yeah.
But still, it still feels kind of unheard of, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just got me thinking really deeply about sort of my roots when I was delivering it. Yes, it got me thinking really deeply about football. It started getting me thinking about politics. And I know we've discussed before, but you know, I would be afraid to say anything else apart from Labour. You know, from where we're from, and that's ingrained in us. And why should we be afraid of having our own mind?
Well, do you know, my mum and dad were mostly Lib Dem back in the day.
Yeah.
But that was all to do with the fact that they knew the Lib Dem guy locally. He'd proven himself and got a whole bunch of stuff done. But this was back in the day. So they always voted based on that. And that's what I inherited was, well, what's he done? What's he done for us? So I inherited a completely different way of looking at it. So, and then they occasionally switched. And I saw that was okay. Because they actually sat and thought about it. Or they knew the guy, or the guy actually lived quite local. And that I had a chance to speak to him and blah, blah, blah. And they saw the impact on their area when something needed fixing. If it got fixed, they went, he's just scored some points, so I'll vote for him again next time.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned. So I've carried that forward, that every single one of my votes is considered right up until the point that I put the tick in the box. Like, am I sure? Am I sure about that? Yes.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I've voted a lot of Conservative, but
because I just saw, if you take shipbuilding mining in Newcastle area, sort of ended early 80s. It ended early 80s. Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher. 1982. So let's take roughly then for the miners' strike and all of that. So if you take a strong holding of Labour in the early 80s, which is now 40 years old, why is that demographics of support not changed considerably in that time? Because we now don't have the industry.
Do you know, there was a perfect example of that at this regular caller on Talk TV called Sean, who lives in Durham. Maximum Geordie accent. Right? And he rings up, he has a proper go at whoever the presenter is, tells him how much rubbish they're talking, and Tories this and Tories that. And he said, well, would you not consider changing it? No. Why wouldn't you change your vote? Because I'm not a backstabber. I vote Labour, always voted Labour. I won't vote for anyone else because I'm not a backstabber. I said, well, hold on a minute. What if Labour had a policy to cut your penis off if you stole some cheese?
Yeah.
Just some random stuff, right? I don't know. Could be something about biscuits. Is it? What if they had a really ridiculous policy? Would you change your mind? I'm not a backstabber. So that was more important. My dad, that was more important to him than having to consider. I don't want people like that voting at all, because I think you should treat it as serious as it is. You should think about it. Even if you still vote the same, I would respect the fact that you've kind of went, well, look, this, that. Even if he admitted, look, my dad did, I do, I'm working class. They speak to me for the working class people, so it's always going to be Labour for me. Or at least if he said it's definitely never going to be Conservative, I might vote for someone else. I could sort of respect that, but to do it just cause, because that's the way I've always done it. Well, that's why they always get votes, because there's a whole shed load of people across the country that do exactly the same thing. My dad did, I am, and I'm not voting for the Tories because that means that I'm a money grabber. Or I'm some sort of right-wing racist something or other. You know what I mean? There's this divide there. Do you know what I mean? Well, as long as you can prove you've thought about it. I mean, I'm thinking about spoiling my ballot this time.
Yeah.
And there's so many people say, I'm not going to turn up. Well, then you don't get to talk about it then. If you don't turn up and decide not to vote, the only thing they do with those is they'll say voter turnout 43%. And that's about as much as they'll say about people who don't turn up. However, if you spoil your vote, all of the campaign teams in the different regions are allowed and do read all of the spoiled ballots to make sure they were definitely spoiled. So whatever you write on them, if you want to send them a message, write something on the voting slip to say you're a bunch of this. I mean, Sarah's husband wrote down what he wanted for tea one year. He said, I really want a curry. Because he was fed up and he really wanted a curry, so he just wrote that, and he was fed up with what was on offer and thought, I'm not voting for any of them, so I'm just going to write something random just to show that bit of, to make a point that no one is worth voting for. And so they'll read all of the slips and then they'll read out the count of how many spoiled ballots there were during the readout process. So it counts, because he will read out the number. So if you imagine if there were thousands upon thousands of spoiled ballots, he would have to read that number out when he calls out the winner, if there is one.
Yeah.
Right, the first past the post thing. So that has an effect, because that's like a protest. Not turning up is just not turning up, because that happens all the time. Voter turnout's never 100%, is it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been Labour up here for so long. And I don't know why that doesn't change. I really don't know why people aren't even willing to. If you start a discussion with someone, it's like insulting them.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know my dad doesn't listen to this, but if it's his birthday, he's 76. Happy birthday, and but you could never say anything, because his association is with the council workers. That's still very, very loyal to.
He's probably spent time in the social club as well, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Down
The social club. It got me there thinking about food and his bait box, and do you still, when you were sort of younger, did you have certain days for certain foods? Like got to have fish on a Friday, and it's got to be Sunday dinner. You still have Sunday dinner now?
I know. And my mum during Lent, it's fish. It's fish on Friday. You're not allowed meat. I said fish is meat, but you're allowed fish. So what about, can we have penguin then?
Yeah. I've completely rebelled against that since I left. I refuse to do it.
Yeah.
I have what I want.
Yeah.
So,
because it's all contrived in my mind. Is that, well, what difference is that? Because Jesus and the loaves and the fish thing, is that something to do with it?
Well, yeah. But it's more about, if I think when I was with Carl's mum and maybe after that, this whole thing about the whole day of Sunday, and I mean, I know Christmas Day used to bother my mother, because the women would be left making the Sunday dinner, the men would be off at the pub having 4 or 5 pints, come back stinking of booze, drink that, eat that dinner, and then go straight to sleep, and. My mother hated it, and but when you think about Sunday and that, you do it now. It's not. If you're doing it the way you should be, it's almost a full day thing, isn't it?
It can be, yeah.
If you think about your mum and her preparation.
Oh yeah, oh yes. I mean, she still to this day sees it as her man thing, right? And even if it's just me coming round, and them two, she'll put on the dinner She'll do all the veg, all the meat and everything, but she loves that mamness of
Yeah.
it. But if you ask her about shops on a Sunday, she's like, well, everything's open on a Sunday these days. My day, nothing was open on a Sunday. It was a day of rest. Everybody was off. I'm like, yeah, but ma'am, shifts are different these days. Companies are different these days. Jobs are different these days. Sometimes Sunday might be the only day someone can do their shopping because
Yeah.
they're working 6 days a week, or they're the ones doing the weekend or the weekend shift for somebody, and you know they've done the night shift and they need to go and get their shopping the next day on the Sunday. As it's so, and they're only allowed to open 8 hours on a Sunday anyway.
Yeah. I just got in that routine where I found that Sunday was a precious day where I could do stuff that I hadn't managed to do during the week. You're right, for work, and to spend all day prepping a Sunday lunch, to then put it out on the table at 2 o'clock, then everybody eat it and then fall asleep for 2 hours and then wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock and have a cakey tea. That ain't my idea of fun anymore.
Aye.
You know.
Aye.
And
I go around because my mum. I know my mum likes to do the mum thing, and
Yeah.
it's a bonding moment thing. So
Yeah.
I make sure, unless there's something up, I'm there every Sunday, whether Stu is there or not. I turn up because
do you think
it's given her something and given me something, and maybe Dad sometimes wash the car and that.
Do you think if we
No,
had a
because it's
conversation in 20 years' time that the tradition of things like Sunday lunch will be almost extinct? You'll just have it whenever you want to have it because restaurants and etc. just offer it all the time now anyway. So you could have it whenever you want.
Not in the north.
Huh? Not up
in the
north?
north.
No.
Not in the north. There'll still be a pub somewhere that does a Sunday lunch special
Yeah.
or summit.
2 for
It'll be
200
that.
quid.
Aye.
2 for 200
then,
quid. Yeah.
By then,
Hold,
aye.
hold off on the sprouts because they're 5 quid for 2 sprouts. Hold off on them.
It's never going to be roasted aubergine or something, though, is it?
No, it's not going to work. Is it?
Aubergine. Oh, it's aubergine toast on a Sunday. It bloody isn't.
So what? Let's finish off with that then. So what would never be allowed on the Sunday plate, or what do we put on that we shouldn't put on?
Well, you should see my Sunday plate as it is. It's Yorkshire puddings, meat, potatoes, peas and gravy. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't put any other stuff on. I cannot stand either the taste, texture or the smell.
Yeah.
It's a peanut. Just can't do it. But I'm happy with that. I'm happy with
Yeah.
that. You used to eat that. You used to eat that. I said, well, that's because I'd get a clip if I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not eating. Eat your snadger
Eat
You
your
know what's-
snadger. What the hell's that?
instead of turnip.
All right.
Have you had your snadger? I don't know
Yeah.
where that word came from. You had your snadger? Nah.
What was it? We
Cabbage.
called it
Cabbage
tur-
is
we
the
called it-
worst thing on the planet.
What is?
Jesus. Cabbage.
Oh, cabbage. I didn't mind a bit of cabbage.
Ah,
Didn't mind
ah.
that. Yeah.
boiled cabbage. Nah, you can
Yeah.
keep it.
And then what we used to do was we save the water because Mark's got spots, and if I give him the cabbage water, it'll help his spots. What?
Yeah. Get a bump on your head though. Rub butter on it. Rub some butter on it.
Yeah.
You ever put the butter cup under your chin?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you like butter? You like butter?
like butter? Aye.
You don't like
But
butter?
nothing-
No, that's just the angle of the sun. The angle of the sun's gone
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the other side.
yeah, exactly. It's daft. It's absolutely daft. I tell you, sausage rolls could easily replace a Sunday dinner for me. In fact,
Easily.
have you seen some weddings where they replace the wedding cake with a sausage roll mountain?
Yeah.
Stacked sausage rolls. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm definitely in. It was funny because we're starting the prep for Robin's wedding, and that discussion came up about the nighttime doing. We were talking about pasties, and we're talking about beef sandwiches.
Oh.
None of this
Oh.
proper sandwich crap.
Hot beef sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to have the
nighttime.
stotties for that though. You'll have to import some stotties.
We'll have to send Greg's in. Can you imagine you getting mobile Greg's come to your wedding?
You
Mobile
cannot mop
Greggs.
up gravy any better than you can with a stottie. Stottie is meant for gravy.
It's like an SAS
Yes.
of buns in it. Remember that one? Rich tea, one dip,
Rich tea.
one
Oh,
dip.
honestly, that's like one of them. It's like a dare, isn't it?
Yeah.
How long you how long you're going to keep it in your tea? It's going to be a fraction of a second. Fraction. It's. Oh, nah. It's not a biscuit, is it? It's not a
No,
biscuit. It's
no.
something trying to be a biscuit.
I'll
Who
round it.
invented them?
I'll round it off. We found some hobnobs in Spain. They're £5 a packet.
That's the king of dipping biscuits, though.
In it.
Here, now, there's something that needs to be discussed.
Right.
There is, I think it's a load of rubbish myself, like, but one of the newspapers did a survey, right, and apparently 10% of the country dip their sausage rolls in their tea.
What? Well,
I'm,
that's just
I'm
that's just
disgusted.
worse than visiting the
I'm not just
bishop every week.
I'm not. I'm not just disgusted, Mark. I'm disappointed.
I, I, who wants a soggy sausage roll?
Who wants bits of flaky pastry floating around in their tea? Because because ultimately bits are going to fall off, right?
Not in
No.
my day.
Now the argument is yeah, well, you'll bite a sausage roll and then drink your tea. So what's the difference between? Because
I
if you'd
wouldn't do
spilt
that.
if you had your sandwich on the table and you knocked your tea out, and you spilt it on your sandwich, you wouldn't eat the sandwich, would you? But you would bite the sandwich and then drink a cup of tea with the sandwich in your mouth. So what's the
No.
difference? Well, it's different. It's different. It's like she said, if you don't want to put it in your mouth soggy, do you?
No. No. It was just on that. When I was with my dad in Liverpool, I was with Ian, who he's a friend from the council who I used to meet every lunchtime, and they got on talking about my dad making these plate pies to save with money. He used to make plate pies, the plate
Oh,
pies on your own
I still
plate.
make them.
Do you? The only thing
Put them on a plate.
I didn't want to participate in the conversation because the only thing I could think of was sucky bottoms.
Hey,
And
I make me own pastry. There's never a soggy bottom.
I was going to say, do you what's it, blind cook it first?
Yep. Nope.
Yeah. No?
Nope.
Ooh.
Just make your pastry right. Make your filling right. Whack it in at the right temperature for the good amount of time. Nope, never a soggy bottom. Because my brother's like, oh, you've got to blind bake these first. What? You're cheating.
Yeah.
No.
But
No, I don't do that. I just hide me filling in off your pop.
my dad used to make them on a plate. The plate.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's still do now and again.
Oh, you
Although
do?
I bought a proper thing because it's because if you forget to grease the plate, you're knackered. You're trying to scrape that off. So I've got myself a cake tin,
Yeah.
and I put the pie in the cake. You know them ones where the bottom comes out.
That's it. Push and
And
pull.
just just one of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Or you can buy the
brilliant.
one where
Love
the side unclips and you just take it away.
Yeah. Oh yes, I need one of them.
Yeah. Great
I
them
need
up.
one of them.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Oh,
sausage rolls instead of cakes. I
I'd
would take a sausage roll over a cake any day. Savoury over
I
sweet.
wouldn't. I wouldn't now. I'd take the cake. I'm a cakey
You love
guy.
your cakes. You
Yeah.
love your cakes. Mind you, I'd be in a quandary if that cake was a brownie. Because I'm not a cake fan, but you put a you put a sticky brownie in front of us.
Oh yes.
It's a proper claggy cake.
Oh, what do we call them?
Chopped chips in it.
Oh, what's that? When you put chocolate lava cake or something like that,
Ooh, I've never
Yeah.
had one of them.
with a salted caramel topping.
That's the stuff you see on MasterChef all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never had one with where the centre's still soft,
Yeah. Yeah.
still runny.
Love it. Yeah. Bit of ice cream on
Or,
the top.
Or when your
cold.
mum
Hot and
your
cold.
mum makes one of them steamed chocolate puddings
Ooh,
with custard
yes.
that you get at school.
What in the tins? What they called? Not the Free Bendis ones. What they called?
My mum used to get them as well.
Yeah, they're like about that size, aren't they?
Aye,
Steam them in the pot and then come out and
aye.
then yeah.
Oh, is that a suet?
It's like
Suet cake,
I
or is
was
it?
going to say Sykes, but
Oh.
it's not.
Oh, it'll come to us.
Yeah,
What she did make, I'll finish on this, what she did make recently. Because she used to work in the school kitchens. Alright. So what she made recently, do you remember them, you got the sponge, and then you've got the jam, and then the coconut on the top, and you used to get a bit of custard with it.
Love it. Oh,
It's made one of them. It's made one of them for Sunday.
oh, no, that is something I would eat tonight, just because you said it.
Because it's got that nostalgia. I mean, school wasn't always great for me, but there were just those little key moments of just that, I don't know, joy maybe, and things that you can flash back to, and they're always good moments. And of course, my mum used to and she'd make them in massive batches. So now and again, she'll just make one of them with the jam and the coconut and the what. And I'm like, oh, that brings that. It's rare. It brings back a good memory of school when she does those things, or pink blancmange.
Oh yeah, pink blancmange.
Angel Delight.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. She occasionally does, just something like that. I say, oh, that's random. Oh, that reminds me of, aye. So, yeah, that with custard.
Definitely.
It has to be bird's custard, of course.
Your bird's custard. Does she make it as well?
Yeah, bird's custard. Aye. Yeah. Aye, or the other one. I can't remember what the other one was. But she always made bird's custard, either from the powder or from the little carton.
Yeah.
Aye. Well,
Ambrosia.
your mum's been chucking in Ambrosia.
Got it. I was playing it around my head.
That's the fella.
Yeah.
That's the fella.
Yeah.
Ambrosia. Aye, it was always that or birds. One of the two.
Yeah.
Your mum's been chucking in a bunch of IT travels. She's even started doing her own quotes.
Has she?
So I've just been copy and pasting them.
She's not hoping for royalties. How do you divide zero out?
Yeah. There's no earnings. There's no earnings yet.
Yeah.
No, so I've been putting them out, and they've been. If you look at the stats, they're doing all right. Actually, they're doing all right. She gets plenty of likes on there. So she's just sent another one.
Is she?
Although the bag looks all creased, it's going to need a bit of an iron.
Bit of an iron. She's got. I think she's got a week left.
Aye. She's been away for like 4 weeks or something.
Yeah, she's done a month. So she's. I think she's got a week left, and then that's it.
So I've still got a stack of them from you to put up. There's still some more from Wales to go on.
Good.
I forgot to put the episode post on yesterday, and instead put that rhino, that recycled rhino thing on there.
I've got another Loch Lomond coming up next week.
There's been some seriously pretty pictures from up there, like, I must admit. And they do really well. They seem quite popular. So I've got some more of them to put up. But until next week, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, listening, and tick the likey buttons and the follow buttons and that. And take care.